Hey everybody, this is Rebel Builder, and it is time for a Moonbase update. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I've been working pretty hard on this thing. I have a display coming up at BrickFest Live here in Denver, August 13th and 14th, and I have a table and I'm going to be showing this thing off. So I thought I would stop and show you guys where I'm at. Now this thing is getting so big that I can't really fit it all in the frame. So I'm going to give you a little spin around here and then I'll zoom in with the camera and show you some of the different sections. But all in all, I've come up with this color scheme, mostly dark bluish gray with light bluish gray and then orange and sand blue highlights. Now this has been kind of a balance and a lot of trial and error on coming up with that color scheme. The sand blue is a very cool color and then it's one of my favorite colors, but it's very easy to overdo. And I feel like I finally came up with the right balance here. We'll start here at the lowest section, and I'm really happy how that turned out. The greebling and adding detail when you're kind of making up these sci-fi elements, that's been kind of hard for me to do. And I feel like, again, I came up with the right color balance and the right balance of detail there. Now these sections here, these are kind of on the inside, and I'd almost call these temporary, covers. They're not going to stay like that, and I have an idea how I'm going to fill this lower section in. I don't know if I'm going to get time before my deadline. And then here in the back, my idea is that I'm going to leave the backs open and eventually fill these in, so I can add some detail and some minifigures and kind of what's happening on the inside. The next section here is kind of this big observation window, a little detail on the side. And again, these side panels here, that's a kind of a temporary placeholder. Level 3 here just has some good detailing, some greebling. Again, it was tough to come up with the right balance of, the greebling. You can overdo the greebling and you can overdo the mix of colors. And so I did a lot of trial and error just coming up with the right balance here. And I've got these side connections here on either side, and we're going to come back to this in a minute. And here for the top section, I repeated this design 3 times around, and some of these I've had these little sections here and here. I've had those kind of designed for over a year, maybe a couple of years, but I kept refining the section in the middle using different parts, and here's what I came up with. A little sand blue in there. I like those grill pieces a lot. And again here on the other side, and then the back is still open. Now here is the top section. I've just built all of this in the last week. I'm kind of going steady cam here, so if it's a little shaky, bear with me. But my idea was that this is the middle tower of 3, and this one had a lot of equipment on it, just different little computers and kind of a little work area for some of the spacemen, some hoses. And I just kind of kept repeating some of these familiar sections. This design, kind of this section of 4 pieces, I repeat that down here and further down here at the bottom. So that's kind of been one of those designs that I liked. And I'm happy, really happy how this turned out. Again, throwing just a touch of sand blue in there. And then I keep going up to the top here. I have a cylinder section here. And then a little section up here with some radars and some antennas. Now if you've really been paying attention, you'll know I had 3 towers and I ended up rebuilding that 3rd one, and that's what we have here. I wanted it to match some of the updated designs I came up with on the other 2. But I recycled as much as I could. Like this little section here I had in there, and I was really happy I could come up with a way to use it. And this little detail, these are some of the joint pieces. I think those are from, a lot of Bionicle sets. I was just trying to come up with different ways that I could make those look like sci-fi machinery. I'm missing a couple of grill pieces. It's amazing what I see when I look at this under the camera. Here I've got a blue Futuron spaceman. And you can see I have some of those old classic space computers, I did want to have some computers up here, but I also kind of wanted to make some nods to the old classic space sets that I love. You do notice that some of these parts are loose under here. I haven't made the final connection. I'm a little worried how I'm going to get this to the event too, so I may not even push it all together until then. Now I have these tunnel connections here, and again, I'm pretty excited how these little sections here turned out, the balance of the color and the balance of the detail. But I also like what I came up with here. I put some hinges here and I bent this at an angle. And you can see I've got the Technic pins here. So my design here is this is all kind of modular, that I can pull these sections apart. I got loose parts there. I can pull these apart. In this section here, you know, I can interconnect that. I just kind of have that hose sticking out there like that. But I snap that in together, and then what I can do is bring my next section of Moonbase, stick that in there like that. And the same goes for the other side. And so here's kind of my first glimpse of all three towers together. You can see I've repeated a lot of the same sections, you know, on all three. That's by design. I wanted it to have the same look. I changed the section here in the middle is different from here. I have these connections for more tunnels. That'll come at a later date. I don't have all that done. I'm not going to have it done for Brickfest Live. So I showed you in the middle because I had this top section done here. These domes, the top parts of these other two towers, I have a lot of work to do on those. I've kind of been experimenting with some different techniques. You can see I have this slope and hinge technique here. I thought that was going to look cool. I'm not quite as happy with that as I thought I was going to be. And then I've got different slopes, different, you know, 1x3s and 1x2s, and kind of too much orange on that section. So that's what I have to get done in the next week. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. So leave me a comment down below. Let's have a discussion about this. I'm really kind of excited how this is starting to look. I think by next week, I'll be really happy with it. So if you're gonna be in Denver, August 13th and 14th, I will be at Brickfest Live showing this. I'm really excited to get it kind of staged with some little vehicles and minifigures, and I'm gonna try to build a few little accessories. As always, thumbs up this video, leave me a comment down below, and if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. I've got a deadline next week, and this will kind of be what I'm gonna call phase 1 complete, but by no means will I be done with this Moonbase by next week. I'm gonna keep working on it after that, so you wanna stay subscribed so you don't miss out on those future updates. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll be back soon.